Alright, so we're going to be working on the 8 HP70 8-speed transmission. This is doing a Hemi swap to Sarge over here. So doing a 5.7 liter with this new 8-speed. This kit I'm doing is from Todd at Jeep Speed Shop. So what we're going to do now is we are going to tap the transmission. There's normally a cooler that sits right here off the transmission. When you get the transmission, make sure you try to order the transmission with the cooler. Unfortunately, I did not, so I ended up having to pick up some fittings. Thankfully, Todd, thank you very much, had some fittings that he was able to give me. So I'll show you those fittings here in a few minutes, but those fittings are normally on top of that cooler that you will be discarding. And then there's a couple little aluminum plugs, I guess if you want to call them, with some O-rings that will get pulled out of this. So you can see down in there I have one plug in there right now, the red plug. It's just a piece of plastic that fits down in there to prevent any kind of shavings that we're going to be producing here in just a minute. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking this tap. This is a 3/4 16 straight. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be physically tapping this transmission for the transmission cooler lines. There'll be this little adapter that comes in the cooler. They just look, basically it's what the lines are attached into, and those are going to unthread out of that cooler, and then they're going to thread into this transmission. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get these tapped, and then I'll show you what we go do from there. Got threads all tapped for the fittings that we were just talking about. So you can see where the block used to bolt right here. It's the old cooler block for the 1500s, and we're obviously no longer using that block, but these fittings come out of this block. Thankfully, Todd had a set of these fittings that he was able to give me, so I was able to utilize these. You can see this has a rubber O-ring. Those O-rings probably won't seal, so we're going to use a nice thread sealer on this, so that way it prevents any kind of leaks. Because as you can see, this one's chamfered, this one is not. So when we go to cinch this down, that O-ring is going to most likely split. So we'll do a little time lapse for you guys on doing this next hole, and then show you what it looks like, final product. Alright, so got the fittings in, got them sealed, pulled the O-rings off, and then sealed them and then screwed them in. Just go pretty snug on them. Don't want to go too snug because these are aluminum, and also your case is aluminum, so you don't want to break or crack anything. So next step is put your lines on. Pretty much, I'm going to put my lines on once I get it down inside the Jeep. Just because it makes more sense. That way there's less chance of hanging up on something or screwing something up with them. So anyhow, hope this video worked out and was able to get you through that little process. So thanks for joining Adventures of Sarge. See you on the trails.